Hi guys, so this is a critique of week five's anatomy human body construction homework. So I'm going to be looking at the work of Amy Ferguson and Anna Fratar. So thank you very much for submitting, guys. So first thing I'll get onto is Amy's work. I'll do draw-overs and critiques, and then I'll move on to Anna's. I'll be putting like timestamps in the description box, so you can just skip ahead or skip back, all that kind of stuff. So it's all the information is nicely laid out for you guys. So the point of this whole exercise was to learn how to break down the human body into more easy to understand forms. So the human body, like there's a lot of muscles going on, muscles and skin and hair, and like it can get a little overwhelming and a little bit complicated. So week five's objective was to try and simplify everything down into those into primitives, to be able to break everything down into cubes, cylinders, spheres, and cones. So looking at your reference images, so for Amy's work, yeah, what you've got here, like the dancer, so choosing model reference where they're either nude or wearing tight clothing is very, very helpful, because you're getting a better view of all the anatomy. Stuff like this, where especially with like the skirt, it's not so bad, like, but the skirt kind of, it masks a lot of the anatomy. And something like this, like, yeah, it's be kind of a loose fitting shirt. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's making things a bit more difficult as we go. For Anna's work, yeah, stuff like this, where she's wearing like it's full black clothing, you're really, like, it's very difficult to kind of see. So as as a student, I I, I think it's you got a tough task ahead of you trying to like work out what's going on over here. But that's what I'm here for. So, and especially and this thing over here, like, so much of the anatomy like is being hidden over there. So you're making it pretty tough for yourself. This image is fine. And something like this is great. Pretty form-fitting clothes, but you can see the shape. You can kind of see what's going on. So in my experience, the best resources to use are either nude or people just wearing lingerie, underwear, tight-fitting clothes, acrobats, dancers, that sort of apparel. It's already hard enough. Like, why give yourself, you know, a heart attack trying to figure out like exactly what's going on under all of that? But this kind of stuff is good too. Like once you get a bit more advanced, it's almost like working on expert mode. So first, I'll go on to Amy's work. Right. So, looking at the work, Amy, it's pretty good. You're kind of getting the idea, getting the basic idea. There's a little bit of issues over here when you're trying to consider the top portion, the torso, as a cube. There's a little bit of issues there. Yet over here, this one's pretty nicely done, actually. Yeah, there's this last one, besides the hands, which are super tricky, but in terms of the overall body, it's pretty well done. So let's just get onto this. So how I would break this down, how I would kind of look at this as cubes and cylinders, all that kind of stuff. Let me show you. Also, decrease the opacity, and I'll show you how I would think about it. So first, I consider like, okay, all of this area is the front facing part of that cube. Right? So when we're trying to place this cube of the torso, right, I consider the whole, like the whole front face, like this is the whole front face of the cube, you know, facing that way. And then we have, this is the other side of that cube. And then there's the hidden side underneath. That kind of thing. And over here, you can see that like it's kind of facing downward. So if I had a cube here, you'll notice that I'm making, the hips aren't exactly, for the hips, it's not exactly like a perfect cube. It's almost like, so from the front on, you know, the cube, obviously it's a square. But for women, I find it useful to kind of expand the hips because a little bit more like a trapezium, right? So in like 3/4, it's like a little more like that sort of shape, which we've got over here, sort of thing. So when, see over here, you've got like you got too little of this area showing, and in reality, we should be having like all this area is like that side, face it that way, and all this area is facing that other side, right? So this is the inside bit, like that. I'll do the same thing for above. So over here, so over here in your drawing, it's not exactly clear which side is which, or what sort of is. It's like, again, a bit too much of this area. I need more of this, right? So when I would draw it, I would put it like, so if I did like front facing area, so from here. this whole area is the side of the cube. And you're not really getting much of that underside area. It's like it's barely, it's not even there really. Here would be. And the center line would be like here. For the hips. Gonna see what I mean. So this side pointing out that way. This is the center line is pointing kind of that way. All right. And like all this area in between is also. And if you wanted to carry the whole thing through, you could have it like this sort of squashed shape. Right? I guess it's just learning which side of the body, you know, corresponds to what part of the cube or the robo beam kind of thing. Center line. Like that. Over here, it's pretty well done. More like, again, it's a bit too much, but also it's a bit hard to see the anatomy. But I would say it's more like this is the front facing part of the cube. You know, and that side's pointing that way. And over here, yeah, it's almost any man's guess. So legs, sort of. Yeah, so over here you've got it pretty much right. Yeah, I agree with what you did there. Pretty much like that. The front-facing part, and all of this is turned. Yep. Yeah, that's pointing that way. Cool. Right. So yeah, for Aimee, like for I think your biggest issue was just figuring out which direction to point the quote unquote like torso cube and the pelvis cube. Let's see. Arms are looking good, legs are looking good. You're considering everything as like. Actually, hold on. So over here with the arms. I would advise using like cylinders. I don't know if these are cylinders or not, but I'll show you how I would address them. Okay, I'll show you how I think about the limbs. So connecting shoulders to the arms and the legs to the pelvis, all that kind of stuff. So I will think of the shoulder as a sphere first, right? Basically, it's a process of laying one three-dimensional object in front of another. So I first have like a sphere, which I then connect to a cylinder, which then connects to another cylinder. Right? And being able to put them all on top of each other. So over here, we then have another cylinder that goes on top. Right? And then another cylinder that goes on top of that one. Then you put it all together, and then you have this, right? And that's how you can have the inner workings of it. Like, let's see, what's a good example? Here. Let's see, with the arms. So yeah, with the arms, yeah, just more cylinder, sorry, sphere. Over sphere here, cylinder, another cylinder. Let's see. Yeah, even here. Sphere. Connected to a cylinder. Connected to the other one. Okay. Let's see. Legs are looking pretty okay. Remember that in the human leg, there's like the way the leg flows, you have this bump, right? So for you, remember that there's going to be that sort of bump. You know? Sort of thing. Also, you'll notice the rhythm of the arms. There is, let's see. When you're drawing arms and hands and legs, the human body tends to go in and out. So you see how the arms taper inwards, right? They're kind of going in here. So it's not just like a straight arm. The arm kind of goes inward. And then you have, you know, your hand, that kind of stuff. Even with the leg, goes in and it gets smaller over here. The leg goes from like thick to thin, so just be aware, right? Let's see, over here, let's bring that over. So we can see you're missing this sort of subtle kind of bump with the shoulders. So over here, the arms come, you have that shoulder bump and then that connection. Right? And then again, yeah, just consider that as a sphere connected to the cylinder, connected to another cylinder. Over here, it's done pretty well. I'll just say, let's see, legs. Just with her shoulders, you will notice there's a little bit of an arch, like going kind of that way, right? It's not perfectly symmetrical, so you just take into account sort of line. One side is a little higher than the other. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, how I would do it, got that. Cylinder, cylinder. And again, you chose a tricky pose because you know, there's so much of the shirt covering up the anatomy. So yeah, got the shirt covering up, but let's see, go to neck. Yeah, for the leg, what I would do, you've done pretty well actually. So let's explain this. With a leg, I consider the knee to be, right, like here's the sphere. Then I attach the cylinder, right, back to it. I'm just using these lines here just to indicate the direction that it flows in. Then a cylinder on top. That's all together, but basically how I'll just break it down easier. So what I've just done is put three things on top of each other. So first thing we have the cylinder going back, plus sphere, plus another cylinder. You put them all together. So it becomes one cylinder, ball, and another cylinder, all on top of each other. Like that. Let's see. Hands, yeah, hands can be tricky. So how I'll break them down is this way. Yep. I can sort of consider the palm of the hand to be like a cube, like this. Right. So that's the palm of the hand, like a flat cube, and then the fingers, like I'll have like a sphere, 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 sphere for the knuckles, and then I attach like all the knuckles like spheres. right? And then I'm attaching like little cylinders to them. So let's get that a better resolution. So palm of the hand can be considered a cube, like a flattened cube. Right. That's right. I can attach some knuckles. And then the rest is like knuckles here, knuckle. Green. And the rest are like cylinders, right? So you attach it, cylinder here. Very crude sort of way, but that's basically. Then you draw on top of it. Very crude interpretation of a hand, but that's basically how I think about it. But yeah, that's how I think about hands. So yeah, overall, really great effort, Aimee. Now I'm going to go on to Anna's work. Okay, for Anna, I'm going to do the same thing I started off with for Aimee's work, which is again just showing you how to think about getting the robo bean, like, and what side of the cube is the upper torso and the pelvis, all that kind of stuff. So over here, it's pretty good. Pretty good. For the upper torso, the pelvis is a little off. Over here, it's pretty good. The upper torso, yep. With the bottom pelvis, it's a little bit off, but that's also, it's a difficult image to work with there. Over here, yep, upper torso is off. And this is pretty good. I'll start with the easiest stuff first. For here, let's go. Cool. So for the upper torso, all this side is the front-facing area. Here, front-facing. This is the side plane. I see all this inner arm area, like under your armpits, this whole side. That's the side area. This would be the inner bit that you can't see. I guess you'd see a little bit of the underside here, tiny little bit, but not much at all. Right, and that would be the center line. Center line. Here it's twisted a little bit. Cool. Over here. Oh, actually. So you got the pelvis. That's actually that's correct. Good job there. For the upper torso. So like I was saying before, all this inside area is so you're not even seeing any of that the front facing side. So let me just take that. Maybe I should use white. And then put color. This is the other side, the back side of the cube, which you're really not seeing much of. That's the inside bit. Which is unseen for the side. Yeah, that's all like what you've done here. That's correct. That's totally right. That's all one side. And you can maybe see a little bit of the back. Yep. Over here. Oh, this one's tricky, but yeah, you got it. Got it mainly right. Let's see, with the upper torso is good. With the hips, again, because of the nature of this image, it's a little difficult, but let's see. So let's see. That's our inner side there, coming. Yes. This is like that. Kind of like that. Yeah. And this is the part which you don't see. Right, so that's the center line, and it points that sort of direction. Yeah, so you were right. Let's move this over. You were right on the upper torso. You know, that's, I'll just draw it in. And that's the side. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Alrighty, now for the top. Let's see. Upper torso is pretty correct. Like, as we can see, it's mainly all there. And this is the front facing side. Which is pretty much what you did. And then for the hips, yeah, it's kind of, let's see, so for bodies, so the center line is going this way first, or it's coming out that way, but now it's changing. Hips are twisting around. So this is the front side. Hips. Okay. The way I figured that out was like, okay, look. So over here we've got the torso, the upper torso pointing in that direction. The body is turning, right? So now it's pointing in this direction, right? As you can see, from that direction, we're turning. Now it's like almost pointing at us directly, like at us here. And then it's now pointing kind of away from us, a little bit away from us here. So we have that motion, that twist. So if this is the side that's pointing towards us now, then this must be that side. Yeah, because pointing out that way now. See over here, sweet. So we got all the that takes care of all the the robo bean stuff. All right. So yeah, you mainly pretty spot on. It's mainly like the hips were kind of giving you a bit of trouble, and you also were using reference images that were pretty difficult to work with, because a lot of the anatomy is masked out over here. So yeah, I recommend um, characters wearing more like lingerie or nude or just like more close fitting, tight fitting things where you can really see the anatomy. Um, Let me draw on top of this drawing of yours. Just start with the simplest thing. So first thing that I want you guys to notice, all the students to notice, is that the human body it does this thing where it tries to counterbalance its own weight. So you'll find that the shoulders and hips are often at opposite angles of each other. So you'll notice that like over here, right, the shoulders are angled over here, right? So the body has to balance itself, and the hip has to go at this angle, right? That's one part of the hip, right? So it's going that way. People seldom stand, like just like here's the head, right? People seldom stand like this, right? You'll find that when the body is at rest, maybe your shoulders will be one side is a bit little. Like if you put your weight on one hip, let's say, if you put your weight on this hip, right, making it go that way, then your shoulders will just naturally kind of go like this to kind of balance the body out, right? Try it, like stand in front of the mirror, like you'll be amazed at what your body's doing unconsciously. So over here, right, so we got, take a note of that. So in this drawing, I would just, try and get that happening with this one shoulder being a bit higher than the rest. Also, you notice that the neck muscles, they arch like that. Like the head isn't just like here's the head, here's the neck, and then we move on. There's an arch, the muscle arches here. So pay attention to that arch. Over here. Let's see. Cool, you've got this is where rib cage is. Her hips are way too small. So you notice that like you've got to have And generally speaking, women tend to be more like wider at the hips than they are at the top. So like men tend to be very more wider at the top and thinner at the waist, and it's opposite for women, generally speaking. She's pretty. Now let's see with the arms, got a bit of an issue. The way you're thinking about the arms is correct, right? So you got, you know, sphere here coming down, connecting to cylinders, cylinder, 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 and connecting to another cylinder. That's pretty correct. And just over here, her arm is a little. Let's look. All right, her arm is becoming a bit too thin. So. Let's see. Shoulders. Yep. Bangs. What else can I say? Oh, there was something on my mind. Right. Okay. Where the elbows kind of come into the picture. Usually, you'll find that. So here's rib cage, right? Rib cage, rib cage. Rib cage. The elbows usually come like just over here, like just where the rib cage ends. So like if you had a body, let's see example here. This is rib cage. The head. But elbows tend to be around here, where the rib cage ends. Yeah, stand in front of the mirror and just like have a feel of your rib cage. You'll see that's where it ends is where your elbows kind of are, generally speaking. Let's see, what else can I say? It's pretty good. The feet, arms. Oh, okay, cool. With the leg here, a bit of an issue there. Just again, just how I would think about it, like I did with Aimee's, it's basically being able to place two cylinders and a sphere together. So with this leg, let's see if I can. Just basically being able to. All right, here's one cylinder. Here's a cylinder. Right. Plus a sphere. plus another cylinder. Let's change this color to pink. And they see they're all overlapping. Right. You know, putting them all together. Let's see. I think that's all I've got to say so far. Yeah. So yeah, both you guys done very, very well. You know, I know it's your first sort of attempts at drawing the human body as a whole. That's really, really great. So yeah, if you want to learn how to construct the body more, again, get reference images like this, like that tight-fitting stuff. Maybe not so much that, like heavily clothed, or kind of sort of very ambiguous, sort of like it's very difficult to figure this one out. Anatomy is hidden. More stuff like, yeah, like that. It's very helpful. Not so much that one, not so much that one. Yeah, and like that. So there's a lot of dancer reference as well. Okay, guys, thanks for submitting, and I hope this helped. If you're still unclear about some stuff, yeah, just please send me an email or post in the discussion forum, and yeah, I'll try and address things farther. Okay, thank you.